I think the rapture could happen today. I think we're in a permanent high watch period for the rapture until the day of the rapture.
He could get me while I'm making this video. He could get you while you're watching this video. That's how close it is. That's how close we are. We're not waiting till next year. This is it. Like, we are just waiting on him.
2023, guys. This is the year. I really believe that. Psalm 83 is happening right in front of our eyes. All the players in Psalm 83 are there. And so we see the enemies of Israel encamped around them. This was a part of a prophecy. When you see the armies encompassing Israel, know that the desolation there is of is nigh or whatever. But, I think that's also talking about the abomination of desolation. But what we're seeing here is Psalm 83. All their enemies are surrounding them. They're going to be on the brink of destruction when God miraculously saves them from this war and defeats their enemies. And then Ezekiel 38 is going to happen right after they bring some kind of peace into the land. Then Ezekiel 33. Russia's already involved in some of this, so it won't be nothing for them to get involved in it. So, now you're talking Ezekiel, Gog, and Magog. So the Bible prophecies are being fulfilled in front of our eyes. We are in the very last moments of the last days. Put your faith and trust in Christ. Don't waste any more time.
The first sign you always have to say, always, is Israel becoming a nation in one day. May 14th, 1948. That was the day, officially, I believe, you could say Jesus is coming soon, because that generation will not pass away till all these things are done. That was 75 years ago. All right? Wars and rumors of wars. Earthquakes in diverse places. Famine with crops failing all over the world. This last 19 months, how many times have we talked about droughts and floods and fires that have destroyed crops? How about anti-Semitism, plagues, failing economies, protests all over the world, a setup for a one-world religion, a setup for a one-world government, things that 30 years ago you couldn't even imagine how that would come to be. Now you're like, yeah, I could see a major world war that leads to the rapture. I could see a one-world religion. I believe it's basically in play now. The love of many growing cold. Come on. We're seeing that happen daily now. People celebrating wickedness. People calling good what is evil and evil what is good. Do we have the technology for the mark of the beast? Of course we do. Do we have a digital currency system being built that could be a one world monetary cashless system? Yes. It's being tested by over 120 countries. I think they could flip a switch tomorrow and start it. Much talk about the third temple being built. The Jews want their temple. And now they have the red heifers, and those heifers are still in the running, and they only need one. We used to say, well, this is kind of a high watch period for the rapture. I think we're in a permanent high watch period for the rapture until the day of the rapture. Drastic weather conditions. How many storms and floods and fires and droughts and volcanoes and earthquakes have we seen in this last year? I don't know what else we need to see. I think the rapture could happen today. Lies and deception. Oh, man. We're lied to every day and from every direction. Every direction. And all the while, with all of these signs that we've talked about that are happening and have been happening, but are intensifying like birth pains, more frequent, more intense. And all the while, we're eating, drinking, buying, selling, building, planting, weddings, giving in marriage. We're living in the days of Noah, days of Lot. And I really think the rapture is very, very soon. It could happen anytime. There's nothing that has to happen. I think it's the next prophetic event on the calendar. When you look at Bible prophecy, and you look at the calendar of all the events that have happened, I think the next thing to happen is the rapture of the church.
Listen, this is it. This is the final countdown. This is it. Everybody's running out of gas. All the watchers, the watchmen, the people who watch the Watchmen, we're all out of gas. It's like God is bringing us to the end of our labor, so to speak. Even though we're not the woman, we're the baby that's going to be born. We're exhausted. You think God doesn't know that we're completely exhausted? That means for 6 years, we've been running all the feast days, all the extra feast days, all the monumental historic history days, the 9th of Av. Now we got Noah's flood day coming up, the whole thing. I think God has taken the whole Watchman community, exhausted them. Here we are. I will call this the final countdown. God's going to pull the trigger on one of these days. This is the final countdown. Everybody has Christ dying in AD 30. Most everybody. AD 30 to 2030, the second coming, would be exactly 2,000 years. That's what C.J. Lovett came up with. He's got the Jubilee in 2023. This is the point. So if the fig tree started in 1949, add 81 years to that, it comes to 2030. So if you go shy of 81 years, even by a day, that means the generation, everything was fulfilled before the generation passed away. So it's perfect. You have to see that. It's all perfect. God has exhausted the whole Watchman community to where we are down to these last days. Just a few days left. This is the time.
I think the rapture could happen today.
Join me on my other media platforms. The links are in the description area below this video. Thank you for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe.